Gravedigger.
Hi, Zizaran here with another video, and we're going to continue with Try to Die Less Than I Do. I will review your death series, and we have people sending in their death clips, preferably on hardcore, and ideally including a path of building for their character or just a link to their PoE profile so we can see what kind of defenses they have. But send that to lessthanido@gmail.com and I will review your death. So it can always be very hard and difficult to see why you died in Path of Exile, so recording is a generally really useful thing anyway. So we are going to review some deaths and see if we can figure out why they died. So I have no POB or anything. This is a campaign rip on hardcore. No granite. Huh? Desync? Right. So the only thing I can surmise here is that the person is playing on predictive mode and not lockstep. If you don't know the difference, lockstep is basically like TCP and predictive is basically like UDP, where on lockstep, the server, you, the client, send a packet to the server saying, I am here, this is the position where I am, and the server says, yes, you are in fact here. However, on predictive, and this is why it feels so much smoother, less laggy, and just, you know, it's a great experience, but it does come at the expense of random deaths. With predictive, it says, I am here. And then you're just hoping that you are there, because the server does not confirm it back to you. So it's like you're playing in a bit more of a local mode, basically. You're not like confirming with server where you are, and then this can happen. So it could have been that you were actually up here still. So you are actually just most likely dying to the beam or one of the explosions. But if this was on lockstep, I would be very surprised. Here is another rip we're going to take a look at. And we do actually have the PoE Ninja for the build. So we'll look at that as well. See what kind of map he's putting in. Maybe he doesn't hover over it. Oh, right. So 0 damage mods, just unique boss AoE. And that can be a factor in some deaths if you're fighting the boss. But maybe not. Oh. Oh, I see. So when he's putting this in, and he puts in the gemling thing. Right, I see. So he puts in corpse mace gemlings. Now, for those of you that have been watching my stream, I don't even pick these up. Not even remotely. I do not look at them at all. His defenses doesn't really matter. Obviously, he doesn't seem to have a lot. He doesn't have a granite. I don't think he's running determination or anything. He has like no defensive auras at all. He basically just has enduring cry. So this is a character with no defenses whatsoever. Very little life. Just not a lot in general. He might even be higher level because this is level 71 from the PoE Ninja. But yeah, very little in general of defenses, but the gemling things are so insanely deadly. We've seen a lot of people fall over to these. I skip them entirely on hardcore. And we have a lot of softcore players saying that they're just super deadly. So gemling legionnaires is the cause of the death. That's why we can see here that he's fighting. And yeah, boom. Crazy deadly. It almost killed my 4th Vow Zabakwa character at the start of a map. And after that, I was like, I'm never picking these up again. Alright, this is a death back in Synthesis Hardcore. And he was wondering if I could figure out what killed him. He does say, I logged out once during the fight and I was returning to finish him off. What killed me? Now, a lot of people might know this already, but I'll explain it for those that don't. Let's say that you're doing Shaper or Adziri or something like that, something that has like a little bit more elongated effects, right? Well, those effects actually linger when you're still logging off. So let's say that Shaper was mid-slam, right? When he's coming back in, notice how fast he moves. So if you see here, you do have 10 seconds of invulnerability, but that doesn't even hit 1 second before he moves. So that means that any previous animation that was there will still be there. So the best way to counter this and never die is anytime you're entering an instance that you left, like an active combat zone, and this is a bit of a punishment for logging out, Hold your cloak, like hold your invulnerability for 5 seconds. And if you do that, you will never ever die to this, right? Because most effects, they aren't 5 seconds, right? So like if you waited 10 seconds, definitely never. But like for example, at Zeri Flame Blast, at Zeri Storm Calls, the Shaper Balls, etc., they could have been previously flying from the other side of the screen when he logged out, and that is what killed you. All right, this is bar guys. First hardcore death. Let's take a look here. Let's see. So this is pretty straightforward. Obviously, like that does damage over time. He's also getting hit by 1-2 shots off the red explosion there. And then he just gets one shot by the slam, who that slam alone would have actually been enough to one shot him. That slam alone would have been enough to one shot him. So he's just tanking everything. I'm surprised he survived as long as he did here. But that slam does so much damage. That's why Act 5 Kitava is actually the hardest. Here we have a Bramble Valley death. I'm not new, but I'm inexperienced. I'm sure I died to the chaos modifiers. So let's look at the map mods here. Tank mods, obviously, tank mods are bad because they make you stay in fights longer. If you have so much damage that you just snip the fight out of existence, it's over pretty fast, not a problem. All monster damage always ignites. This is really annoying if you're not ignite immune, but, you know, at least damage you can log out from. Monsters gain 21 fizz as extra chaos. This is devastating if you have low chaos res at all. And the withered for 2 seconds will break things like Sabakwa tanks and make you take a lot more chaos damage in general. Oof. So... Right. So that is actually the yellow slam there that's like expanding outwards. I think there is a fire ability too. I think the fire ability is just his flame dash. No, but there is an actual explosion there too. It's a bit hard to tell. So I actually just don't remember how the effect goes. Like maybe the explosion here could be EA. He is EA, so maybe it's EA hitting something. But it does look more like it's the final part of the tentacles hitting. I think that's it. And then he gets ignited because it is a pretty big hit. And since all monster damage from hits always ignites, that makes it a pretty large hit. He also has a poison. He has a wither from that. So the degen kills him pretty fast. It would be hard to react in time there. Now, obviously, he does have a full life flask, but he was not expecting that large a hit, and you have 0.2 seconds to react. Not much he could do here. We have another hardcore death. No explanation. He is in a level 70 volcano. Crazy flask setup for hardcore. No utility flask and 3 life flasks. And while life flasks aren't very good, they don't really help you. You want to have preventative measures for hardcore, not reactive. And as you can see, the death is so fast that he can't react at all here. There are a lot of delirium effects going off, which does also make it more rippy. Yeah, it's just simply like multiple delirium explosions happening. So if he had ended delirium earlier, he would have lived. If he had utility flasks with like armor evasion, stuff like that, he most likely would have lived. He also has not that much life. So see, a big part of his defense is energy shield. But you can see the energy shield is just snuffed out. That's like 1/5 of his life. And again, no utility flasks at all. Like this is the biggest mistake we see new players do is no utility and no defense. Looks like he's not running a single defensive aura. It looks like the only thing he's running is haste. No determination, no grace, just haste, which is crazy. That's insane on hardcore. You're basically asking to die. Here is another one. It's an Act 2 rip. Probably somebody that's new to hardcore. Ghosted Red Beast. He just gets stun locked and killed. It's pretty straightforward. Ghosted Red Beast, log out. Right, here's another one. Forge of the Phoenix. There was no damage or repeat mods. My Pathfinder at 2.2k life recovery. I can only think of the red beam dot being the killer here. We also had no recovery. All right, let's see. So Avarius is in the map, so very deadly. It's the defiled boss. And those beams do an insane amount of damage. Oh. Okay, not dead yet. So there are a few things with Phoenix that are very scary, especially if there are multiple bosses. The Phoenix actually has two things that lowers your fire risk. One that lowers your max fire risk and one that just lowers your fire risk in general. As the fight goes on, your fire risk will go lower and lower, but also as he does the slam, he does like minus 50 fire risk or something crazy. It's like very high. Ah, right. So you see that she logged out, and what ends up killing then is that sometimes when you log out, and if you don't have a perfect connection, it can keep you in the game for 6 seconds. So yeah, that last logout basically ended up killing because you probably just stayed in the game for 6 seconds. So that is pretty much that, and a big downside to logging out. So keep that in mind and be careful where you log and how you log. But either way, I hope you guys enjoy the Less Than I Do series. You are supposed to try to die less than me. I have died 0 times this league, so I am making it hard. And I'm sure there will be some deaths coming because there's a lot of repeat tier 17 content. But either way, hope you guys are enjoying all the content. Sub if you like the video. And if you do want to be included in one of these, you can email me at lessthanido@gmail.com. I do prefer to watch hardcore deaths so that I get to bask in your suffering. But either way, thanks for watching. Sub if you like the video, but more importantly, try to die less than I do.